There are words he will never say out loud, feelings he buries beneath silence, half smiles, and casual conversations. You see, his world is built on control of his emotions, his desires, his heart. But behind that wall of composure lies a storm he fights every day. It's in the way he looks at you when you're not watching. It's in the pause before he replies to your messages. It's in the frustration he carries when he can't find the courage to say what his soul screams for him to say. And I know you've felt it. That quiet ache in the room when he walks in. That invisible string pulling at both of you, tightening every time you talk, laugh, or share a moment so simple yet so heavy with hidden meaning. It feels almost unbearable at times to be so close to him and yet so far from the truth he hides. You wonder why he won't say it, why he holds back words that could set both of you free. But what if I told you he is already speaking to you in ways louder than words? This isn't about his ego or his fear alone. It's about the silent battles inside him, the wounds he carries from a life that taught him vulnerability is weakness. It's about the protection mechanisms that keep his desire trapped behind a locked door. And today, you're about to see the signs he desperately hopes you'll notice. The signs that reveal how badly he wants you, even if he'll never admit it out loud. Watch this video till the end, subscribe, and if you're ready to see through his silence and hear what his heart has been whispering to you all along. There are moments when his eyes land on you and the world goes quiet for a second. It's almost too quick to catch, like a flash of lightning before darkness returns. But in that split second, something raw and unguarded spills out of him. You see, he's spent a lifetime learning how to guard his words, his posture, his tone. But the eyes, they're traitors to a guarded heart. They don't ask permission before they reveal what he's buried so deep inside. You might notice it when you're talking about something trivial, like the day's chaos or your morning coffee. You glance up mid-sentence and catch him staring, not at your lips, not at your gestures, but at you as if he's looking at a memory he wants to keep forever. And in that moment, his gaze softens. The tension in his shoulders disappears. For a second, he is simply a man stripped of his armor, wanting something he can't name out loud. It confuses you. Because he never says it. He never shows it openly. He never leans in with words that match the intensity of that look. And you start questioning yourself. Maybe you imagined it. Maybe you're reading too much into it. But deep down, you know when a glance carries truth heavier than any sentence could hold. What you don't see is the silent war raging inside him every time his eyes betray him. That war between desire and fear, between wanting you so fiercely and believing he has no right to want you at all. So he pulls his gaze away quickly, cracks a joke, changes the topic, or looks at his phone as if nothing happened. But in that stolen moment, everything happened. His truth escaped. His longing reached you before he could drag it back down. These glances are not accidents. They are cracks in the walls he built around his feelings. They are glimpses into a desire he doesn't have the courage to claim yet. And when you see them, don't dismiss them as illusions. Because the eyes never lie. They speak in a language his guarded lips will never dare to utter. Sometimes his way of protecting his feelings isn't silence, it's teasing you, laughing at you softly, mocking your stubbornness, joking about your messy hair or your obsession with small things. And on the surface, it looks harmless, playful, even irritating at times. But underneath, there's something far deeper happening. Because behind those teasing words is a trembling fear of vulnerability he doesn't want you to see. You see, teasing is his armor. It's safer for him to push you away with jokes than to pull you close with truth. It's safer to make you roll your eyes and call him annoying than to risk you hearing his heart pounding in his chest. He doesn't tease you because he wants to belittle you. He teases you because he wants to touch you without touching, to connect without exposing himself completely. Because if he truly said what he felt, his voice would crack and his eyes would water and his strong masculine guard would crumble before your gaze. Every time he laughs at you or playfully annoys you, there's an edge of protection there. He's protecting his own dignity. He's protecting his own fear. He's protecting the part of him that believes he is unworthy of expressing deep affection out loud. But don't ever think his teasing is casual, because if you watch closely, you'll see the way his smile lingers a little too long when you're flustered. You'll notice the warmth in his eyes right after he teases you, as if he's silently saying, "I hope you know I don't mean to push you away." These moments are his small rebellions against his own emotional silence. They are tiny admissions that he feels something real for you, something raw, something he is terrified to confess, without masking it first in humor. Because for him, love is dangerous territory, vulnerability is a battlefield, and teasing is his shield. But even a shield shows cracks under pressure. Even his jokes tremble with truth when his feelings grow too strong to hide. And one day, if he ever lets the teasing fade into stillness, you'll see the man behind the mockery, a man who has wanted you all along, but didn't know how to say it without making you laugh first. He may never sit across from you, look into your eyes, and tell you exactly how he feels. Words can fail him. Vulnerability can terrify him. But pay attention to what his hands do, to what his quiet actions say when his voice stays silent. Because a man's hidden desire often leaks out in the way he tries to make your life easier, even in the smallest unnoticed ways. Maybe he fixes something for you before you even realize it was broken. Maybe he remembers how you take your coffee or notices when you've had a long day and finds a way to lighten your load. Maybe he drives out of his way to pick you up in the rain or stays awake until he knows you've reached home safely. To you, these might feel like ordinary gestures, things anyone would do. But they're not ordinary to him. They're the only language he trusts when love feels too big to say out loud. You might ask yourself, why doesn't he just tell me? Why doesn't he open up and admit that he cares? But he's been raised in a world where men are taught to prove love through doing, not speaking, through protecting, not confessing, through acts of service, not tender words. And every time he does these small things, he is revealing himself to you in the only way he knows how, silently, steadily, and deeply. When he goes out of his way to solve something for you, when he puts your comfort above his convenience, he is showing you his feelings without risking rejection through words. Because words can be denied. Words can be ignored. Words can be thrown back at him. But actions stand solid and quiet, needing no approval, seeking no praise. It is in these silent acts that his truest intentions breathe. His service is his confession. His small offerings are his unspoken promises. Look at what he does when he thinks you're not paying attention. That's where his desire hides, not in grand declarations or poetic messages, but in the silent choices that whisper, "You matter to me more than I will ever let myself say." There's a jealousy he carries that he will never admit out loud. It's not loud or dramatic. It doesn't erupt in rage or accusations. It sits quietly in his chest, gnawing at him when he sees another man make you smile in a way he wishes he could. When he notices your eyes lighting up at someone else's joke, there's a sudden shift in his energy. He withdraws for a moment, falls silent, or masks it with indifference. But inside, there's a silent storm raging. It's not because he wants to control you. It's not because he doubts your worth. It's because he doubts his own. That protective jealousy comes from fear that someone else will give you what he's too afraid to offer. Fear that someone else will see the beauty in you that he's been guarding like a secret treasure. Fear that your heart is available to someone braver, someone who isn't locked behind the same walls he's built around himself. When you see that flicker of jealousy in him, It's not about possessiveness, it's about vulnerability, because it forces him to realize how deeply he cares. It exposes the fact that losing you would break something inside him that he's tried so hard to keep intact. That protective jealousy is his silent confession. It's his way of saying, I care about you more than I have the courage to say out loud. I care enough that it hurts to imagine you cared for by anyone but me. He might mask it with sarcasm or playful annoyance. He might roll his eyes or change the topic, pretending nothing bothered him. But deep down, that jealousy is a raw wound he hides from the world. Because if he admitted it, he would have to admit how much he wants you. And wanting you so openly terrifies him. Remember this, his jealousy doesn't mean he wants to control you. It means he's battling himself. It means his hidden desire is fighting its way to the surface, threatening to break through the silence he's held for so long. Because loving someone in secret is painful. But watching them slip away while you stand silent, that is the kind of pain that rewrites a man's entire soul. There is a certain way he listens to you that reveals everything he tries so hard to hide. Most people hear your words and nod, their minds drifting somewhere else, waiting for their turn to speak. But not him. When you speak, he pauses his entire world. He locks into you with a quiet intensity that says, this moment matters. Even when his eyes remain calm, his soul is leaning forward, absorbing every layer of your story. He remembers the smallest details you thought no one noticed, the name of your childhood dog, the exact date you lost someone dear, the way your voice cracks when you talk about your dreams. He remembers these things because they have become anchors in his silent ocean of feelings. They give him a sense of closeness he fears he may never have permission to claim out loud. And it's not just your words he listens to. He listens to your silences, to the tremble behind your laughter, to the quiet sorrow hidden in your sighs. He listens when you change the topic to hide your tears. He listens when you say, I'm fine, knowing you're anything but fine. Because in those invisible spaces between your sentences, he finds the truth of who you are. And the truth of who you are has become the place his heart returns to over and over again. He listens like a man who has found a treasure he cannot touch, like someone kneeling before a fire he is too afraid to warm his hands by. Because listening to you is the only way he can love you without crossing a line he believes he must never cross. It's the only way he can hold you without holding you. Every time you see him listening so deeply, understand what it means. It means you are the quiet center of his chaotic world. It means his mind and heart are anchored to your presence. It means his hidden desire has woven itself into every story you've ever told, every laugh you've ever shared, every wound you've ever confessed. He may never say the words out loud, but if you listen closely to the way he listens to you, you will hear it, the silent confession echoing beneath his breath, whispering, I love you more than I can ever tell you. There are sacrifices he makes that you will never see. Small, quiet decisions that cost him pieces of his pride, pieces of his comfort, pieces of his hidden world. He doesn't announce them. He doesn't look for praise. But if you watch closely, you will notice his silent choices revealing a truth louder than any words of love he could speak. He sacrifices his time just to be near you. Even when he has 100 things pulling him elsewhere, he sacrifices his sleep to answer your late night messages, pretending he was awake anyway. He sacrifices his guarded peace to hold your burdens on the days your spirit feels too heavy to carry alone. And perhaps the deepest sacrifice of all, he sacrifices his desire to keep his distance, just so he can stay in your life in the only way he knows how. Because loving you openly would change everything. It would mean risking rejection. It would mean unraveling the walls he spent his life building. It would mean letting you see the wounds beneath his laughter, the fears behind his confidence. So he makes small sacrifices instead, sacrifices that feel safer, quieter, easier to hide. He won't tell you he cancelled his plans just to see you for 10 minutes. He won't tell you how he rewrote his entire day to be there when you needed someone. He won't tell you how every time he watches you walk away, he battles the aching urge to pull you back and tell you everything he's been burying inside. These sacrifices are his silent declarations. They're his way of giving without demanding, his way of loving without asking for love in return, his way of saying, your happiness matters more to me than my comfort. Your peace matters more to me than my pride. One day, when you look back, you will realize these silent sacrifices were not small at all. They were the bravest things he ever did, because each sacrifice cost him a hidden piece of his soul. Each sacrifice was a confession without words. Each sacrifice was a choice to love you in the only way he could, by giving parts of himself away, piece by quiet piece, hoping you'd one day see what his silence never dared to say.